Genesis chapter 25 and verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and to the Akim and the Agwaf listening and learning. Shalom. This is Seek the Most High Kingdom, coming at you with another lesson. The reason why I came out of Genesis, the 25th chapter and the 27th verse, is because Esau was a cunning hunter. You don't necessarily need a knife or a gun to hunt. You can use your voice, can be a weaponized weapon as well. And here we're going to read this article. It reads out of the Star Tribune that Trump good genes coming at a Bemidji rally draws condemnation. Why? Because Donald Trump, the president of the United States, he's telling his all-white rally followers that, hey, y'all got good genes. And we know it's just an echo of just saying your white supremacy, that you so-called Edomites are superior to all the other races that are on the planet Earth. When in all actuality, that is all wrong. And I'm going to prove to you scripturally that you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, y'all are the chosen seed of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, if you can receive this. We're going to continue reading this article, and it reads, President Donald Trump, praise of a nearly all-white crowd. Good genes came during a Friday night rally in Bemidji, where he also sharpened attack on refugees. He opened his speech by calling the group hard-working American patriots and raising alarms that Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden would flood the state with Somali refugees. Trump said near the end of his wide-ranging, nearly 2-hour speech that the state was pioneered by men and women who were tough and strong and braved the wilderness and wanted to build a better life. You have to have good genes. You know that, right? And what he was saying to the so-called Edomites, that, your genes are superior. Only you could survive those conditions. We're going to continue with the article, and it reads, you have to have good genes. You know that, right? Trump said, you have to have good genes. A lot of it is about genes, isn't it? Don't you believe the racehorse theory? You think we're so different. You have to have good genes in Minnesota. And basically what he was saying, he's talking about eugenics and saying that one race of people is more superior to another race of people, especially you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. And my first precept is going to be coming out of Psalms 14th chapter. And it reads, to the chief musician, the Psalms of David, a fool hath said in his heart, there is no power. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. Verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek Yahweh. Psalm chapter 14 and verse 3, they are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge? Who eat up my people, Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, as they eat bread and call not upon the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Now Isaiah 26 and 10 is probably one of my favorite scriptures, simply because it tells you the mindset of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and the Most High. He put it in his spirit to be this way. And when it reads, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So, what you heard 45 say at that rally, that you have to have good genes. And his mindset is that because his parents are both Edomites, that they have a superior gene to you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. And again, I'm going to prove to you scripturally that's a false statement, and that's a false belief by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And in the land of uprightness, he still can't learn righteousness. They won't call on the name of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So what you have here is the President of the United States telling an all Edomite crowd is that they have good genes, when that could be further things from the truth. He won't acknowledge to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, who the word ignorantly called Jesus Christ, to thank him for all the wisdom that he gave them so that they can rule properly. But yet, as scripture tells you, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. So there's no righteousness in Esau. And again, it reads, Trump good genes comments at Bemidji rally draws condemnation. Do you think that the President of the United States would be in a rally with you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans and tell y'all that y'all got good genes? And that's what you got to put in the audience. Again, you have to know the audience in which the President of the United States is speaking to. Now if he was at a rally with you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, he would be giving y'all hot sauce. Or better yet, he would be telling the audience in there, you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, that y'all can make good fried chicken. That's the type of language that he would use at you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. And y'all would be laughing it up, chalking it up, because, to those that know the truth, it would be an insult. But to 2/3 of y'all would think that would be like, oh man, the president said we love fried chicken. But he's telling his audience they have good genes. Again, the president's telling his audience that they have good genes. And the first precept I'm coming out is going to be Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Least there be in a fornicator, a profane person as Esau, for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So Esau's a profane person. He can't have superior genes when the Most High called him a profane person. That's what you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans first must understand about it, that Esau Edom. And again, the President of the United States of America, he's hunting. And again, like I said, you don't need a weapon to hunt. You can use your voice. And what he's doing, he's voicing to his base and saying, your good genes and my good genes make us far more superior than the other nations. And if we band together, we can once again rise under that banner of Make America Great Again. So he's hunting his prey right now. And you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you can't be mad at the President of the United States for speaking like this. He's only speaking what he believes, and his rally goers, they are only taking in what they also believe. That's why he can do no wrong in this office, and that's why you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans shouldn't be voting at the polls no way. And I'm gonna prove to you that scripturally that you shouldn't be voting at the voting polls. You're voting for a God that rules over you, someone that won't look out for you. I did many lessons on this 1 Samuel chapter 8 and 7, where I read pretty much the entire chapter. But from here, I'm just going to start at verse 8. This is at verse 4, Salakia. And this is 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 4. And it reads, Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came unto Samuel unto Ramah. In verse 5, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us king to judge us like all the nations. That king make us a president, just like you so-called Negro, Latinos today. You want a president to rule over you. And today that president is Donald Trump. And now y'all are disgruntled against President Donald Trump. Now y'all want another king to rule over y'all. And we're going to continue reading in verse 6. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. I'm going to continue reading 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 7, and it reads, And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. And you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, y'all don't turn from the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Y'all turn to Jesus. Now y'all turn into another ruler to rule over y'all, which will be Joe Biden. That's who you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans going to be voting for in this next election. It's going to be Joe Biden. That he going to be the king that rule over y'all. Y'all rejecting the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And it reads, verse 8, According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day wherein they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. So the Most High is saying, hey, I brought y'all out of Egypt, and y'all still stiff-necked people. Okay, and again, you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're going to go to your pastors, you're going to go to your local politician, you're going to go to those local voter registration drives so that people can tell you that, hey, man, this election, it's going to make a difference, that the new king that we're going to vote for, Joe Biden, he going to deliver, he going to make y'all equal, he going to give y'all equality in Babylon the Great, America, Sodom and Gomorrah. But if you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans will pick up the Bible, it's your history book, that y'all are the biblical Israelites that the Bible speaks of. If you continue reading in 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse, and to continue reading through chapter 8, you will see that the Most High, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, said that your king, he going to send your sons to war, that he going to take your sons and your daughters, and he going to do all kind of grievous deeds to them. And that's what happened here in America. And again, when you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans go to these voting polls, you are voting on a new king. And there's only one king, and he the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And his name is Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So when you go to these polls and you voting for, whether it be Donald Trump or you voting for Joe Biden, if you want them to be your king, continue to vote. If you don't vote. Another precept to prove to you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans that the Most High Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, only know you Israelites. In Amos chapter 3 and verse 1, hear this word that the Lord Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, have spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. So the Most High is saying that you Israelites are the only family of the whole earth that he knows. This point blank period. I can't make this up. This is not coming from me. This is coming from the word of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, creator of heaven and earth and all things therein. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Jacob. Not the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Esau. He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah. Now, we're going to get into proving that you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans already came out of the book of Amos, chapter 3, that y'all are the only family that the Most High Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah known. Y'all are royal seed. And we're going to come out of Daniel chapter 1. Daniel chapter 1. I'm not going to read the entire chapter. I'm going to start at, I think, verse 4. And then we're going to lay the backdrop down so you'll understand. The book of Daniel proved that you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans are the raw seed. Daniel chapter 1, verse 1. And in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. He came and Nebuchadnezzar came and conquered Jerusalem. And he put you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans in captivity, the same as America did to you on the transatlantic slave trade. Daniel chapter 1 and verse 2. And the Most High gave Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, into his hands with part of the vessels of the house of Yahweh, which he had carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and the king's seed and of the princes, the righteous seed, you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the point is here in Daniel 1 and 4. And it read, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skilled in all wisdom, cunning in knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans needed to learn how to speak, the Lashawan Kadash, which would be the ancient Paleo-Hebrew language, because they didn't speak that language. And again, we're talking about Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, which is today, America is, Babylon the great whore that sits on many waters, if you can receive this. But you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, y'all were highly favored, because y'all was of the king's seed. And the king is who? Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shah, the king of kings and Lord of lords. Y'all are the seed, as per Exodus 4 and 22. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. And I read this scripture a lot, and it reads, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies which the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. And that's what Esau Edom, the so-called white man, did to you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, he put that yoke of iron upon your neck, and he destroyed you. He got you still thinking that voting in this election, that it's going to make a difference for you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. He got you thinking that y'all been reduced to being thoughts. Y'all been reduced to being Negroes. Y'all been reduced to being a nigger. Y'all been reduced to being just a simple person, a simple man, when you are the raw seed of the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. You're royalty walking the earth. But yet, you know, in this society, you've been reduced to nothing. And today, some of you still have those spiritual chains around your neck, you know, which keep you from coming back to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Jacob, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So this lesson is to inspire you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, the elect, because only the elect gonna hear this message. You hear me say that a lot, the elect, the elect. You know, only the elect gonna hear this message, because 2/3 are happy here in Babylon the Great. 2/3 love Babylon the Great. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 28. And it read, as for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And the corruption of these so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans not worshiping the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and still depending on spiritual Egypt to serve the best interests of you. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which have been so long without fruit shall be declared. John chapter 14 and verse 16. And I will pray the Father that he should give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Verse 17. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. And the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, he said that the Spirit of truth shall abide in you forever. And the world can't receive this. Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. And that knowing the time, now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. You know, my closing precept. Now, first, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and to the Akim and the Akwaf listening and learning. Shalom. And I hope this lesson has been edifying. Until the next one.